You know, we had some.
We are live, guys.
Oh, great. Greetings, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Gwen Gore, and I am part of the team here at Squadron. Fortunately, Jeff V has another glorious Friday off. It's such a great place to work here where you can have the long weekends. I promise you, he will be back next week. We'll talk a little bit later about what we have planned for that show. But today, I am very, very excited to introduce to you someone very important to us. Frank Landrus here, one of our most favorite customers, is here to talk to us today about a number of things. We're going to learn a little bit about his long time in the hobby. I don't mean to stress the long time in the hobby. But most importantly, we're going to talk about the great work that he does getting new people into the hobby, particularly kids, through the Make and Take program that he runs through the IPMS. So without further ado, Frank, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Tell me a little bit about how you got started in this great hobby.
How I got started. My dad used to race cars. And he started off with an Austin Healey Sprite and then got into an MG and then he got into a Saab. Now, if you don't know about Saabs make airplanes. In fact, Saabs made airplanes first and then they decided, well, the war's over, now what are we going to do? Well, they got into the car business.
Sure.
And so they made a rather unique car, and my dad used it for road rallies. And so I grew up going to road rallies. Well, my first model was a Saab Draken, which was a double delta Mach 2.2 fighter jet that the Swedes built. You got to understand, Sweden's a very, very tiny little country.
Sure.
And they built state-of-the-art aircraft. So it was really interesting, and the kit I got was a Tamiya or whatever we're going to call it, 1/100 scale Draken, and I followed that up and built others in that series like the Messerschmitt 163 Comet, Messerschmitt 262 Schwab, and other kits like that. And that really got me into the hobby, and I really focused on building Swedish kits at that point in time. And then, of course, I got older and found girls, and
we moms hate when that happens.
Yeah, and so I wasn't building models per se, but I was still interested in aviation. My first car was my dad's ex-rally car. It was a Saab.
Oh, wow.
So, and I've had Saabs in my family. You know, I've been driving Saabs for the last, how many years since I started driving. It's
better not to say that number.
What can I say?
Well, I have to tell you, our paths in life have kind of paralleled because I grew up as well with a dad who loved to rebuild cars, and particularly exotic European cars. And that came from my great-great-great-granduncle won the first Indianapolis 500, Ray Maroon. Yep. His car is on display still at the Indianapolis Speedway. And when I was at the Franklin Mint, I used to work in the die-cast division, and we actually did a model of his car, a die-cast model. So yeah, I know those weekends going to car rallies, and both of my brothers ended up taking cars that my dad discarded. There was an MG Sprite, I think one of them had, that they rebuilt and drove. And isn't that like the most deluxe model kit ever?
Yes, it is.
Carrie and Jill and Adam and Mike all say hello.
Hey,
Happy
Friday.
I got a Happy Friday comment
Happy
as well.
Friday.
So I grew up outside of Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. Well, then know.
My father was a design engineer at Allison's, which was right across from the Speedway.
Sure.
So, I grew up listening to the national drags because the high school I went to didn't have air conditioning. You had the windows up and open.
I think that was most of our high schools.
So I got into it by that, and again, because I was driving Saabs, I got into the aircraft like that. And now my dad also had a pilot's license, so I've been flying a few times,
Nice.
But I don't have a current pilot's license.
Oh, all right. So all these kits you've built, what's been your favorite?
It's probably the latest one I've built, but I built a pilot replicas 1/48 scale Saab J29 Tunnan, and I was just amazed at the fit and the detail on the kit. And one of the top kits right now is Wingnut Wings 32nd scale World War I aircraft, and this fit like that. If you got paint on the edge, mating edges, it wouldn't fit. You had to make sure everything was nice and smooth. It was just an incredible kit, and I was really pleased with it. I took it to a couple shows and did fairly well in those shows, and actually I took it to ReaperCon and won a gold on it. So I was just floored and taken aback about. But that was a really nice kit. I'm currently building a special hobby 148 scale Saab Vigan SK37E, which is a ECM variant, and it's not a Tamiya shake and bake, but it fits really well, and I'm surprised how much improvement they made over the old Airfix kit. It's really pleasing.
We saw that kit at IPMS, and when Jeff V opened the lid, I thought he was going to explode. You know how Jeff can just start to glow, and you feel these sparks coming off of him. When he saw that kit, he was like, that was a winner. So I know I don't know if he's built it yet, but I know that he acquired one.
Right. It's a really nice kit. And I'm not saying it just because I like Saabs.
Oh, that might have a little to do with it, but that's
maybe.
all right. So you mentioned getting the gold at ReaperCon, and I'm sure, having seen your work myself, that there's been many other awards and accolades you've gotten. What's the one you're most proud of?
I built a Tiger tank in 35th scale. It was, again, a Tamiya kit for an IPMS group build. It was under the tutelage of Lee Thomas, who sadly has passed away, but he was president of IPMS North Central Texas. And that was one of the first kits I felt like I really took advantage of and really built a high quality kit. Unfortunately, I don't know where that kit is anymore, because he was going to submit it to an Army museum, and I don't know what happened to it.
Isn't that the way it goes?
But when I was building that kit, and I'll get into my daughters, is I was building that kit, and my daughters wanted to build kits, so they did. And so I was building a Tiger tank, and they were building a Tyrannosaurus Rex and a Stegosaurus, and I put it on a base, and so they got their own bases, and they made all the stuff, on the base. So when I started working with my kids, I would go out and buy 3 kits generally, and we would sit and build the same kit. So this was one time on this Tiger tank that they actually built. They were a level, been modeling for 2 or 3 years, and by that time they were pretty good at it, probably better than I am, and they were real pleased with what they did on it. And the reason I tied that Tiger tank, because Amanda ended up winning first at nationals as an 8-year-old in juniors, and Alyssa took second place as a 6-year-old. So I kind of tied that together. So I was really proud of that entire thing, just spending time with the kids.
Well, and I love 2 things about that story. One, for all of you out there, it was girls. We a lot of times equate the hobby of building to boys, and it's really a wonderful thing to hear a story about young ladies who are successful and have enjoyed the hobby and continue to do it. And that leads us into the other thing that I really wanted to talk to you about today. As a mom of 5, I think it's really important that kids have things to do besides playing with electronics. And it's tough today to get them to do that. And for our hobby to grow and to sustain itself, we need new people to get involved. And in today's world, that's not easy, because these aren't available just everywhere. So Frank, I first of all commend you for the work that you put in with kids, because as you all are going to hear, with the IPMS and the make and takes that you're doing, you're touching hundreds, if close to thousands of kids' lives by bringing them the gift of modeling.
Right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing this year?
Well, this year, so to backtrack a little bit, I've been involved in doing modeling make and takes. Again, I start with my daughters, and that extended to when they had a birthday party. All the girls came in and we sat down and built models, and instead of having a gift pack they took home a model with them. And I started doing this at the local shows, the North Central Texas show, the Fort Worth show. I went down to Austin, did it there. So I was doing traveling make and take, and because I was doing that, I became a national coordinator for make and take for IPMS USA.
Because that's always the prize when you volunteer.
Yeah, you get the job. So I've actually been involved in doing make and takes for about 25 years, and most of the time it was just at shows. But in the last 4 or 5 years, Squadron has stepped up, and they've been donating kits like this, like you see over here. And it allows us to focus on building a kit so we can solve any of the minor issues with the kit. And as a team with, the other people that work with me, Randy and Ed, and plenty of others, that we're able to make sure that we can make this kit successfully with the child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the really important thing. So that's what these type of kits allow us to do. Last year we went through about 600 kits at Hops and Props over at Meacham Field,
Yep.
Alliance Airport, and for the Alliance Air Show, and for the Commemorative Air Force down in Dallas, Texas at Executive Airport. This year we went over 760 kits, and it was just amazing. We were just so busy. But what I do is I focus on making sure that this is for the kids and the parents. And I go, this is all about bonding time with the
Yeah.
child. That your child wants your parental approval, your parental and time. They want time.
Yep. And I love that you make the parents stay, because that's a real trick today. A lot of them say, oh, here's a case, I can dump my kid off and go look at the show, but you actually have them sitting there. What a great gift.
Well, so that's something I've learned, because I didn't want to become a babysitting service. And I remember a couple shows we were a babysitting service. So this has been evolving, and I learn new things every year, and I try to implement and make sure things are going well. But this has really been received very, very well. I've had parents come up to me and say, this is just fantastic. This beats video games, and they want to have their kids outside on pretty days, but on cold days or rainy days, what am I going to do with the kid? I go, you can sit down with your child and do this. And that's what I did with my daughters. My daughters, I would sit down and do this, and we had a little building table about this big, because that's all my wife would give me. And you would sit down with your child, and when they got tired, and a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old would get tired of doing it, you just say, okay, let's get up and walk away. And maybe a day later or 2 days later, they say, Daddy, can we go work on this again? And they would, so we would go sit down and work on it again. My daughters eventually got good enough that they would do it on their own. I mentioned the T-Rex that my oldest daughter built. She's built that over 9 months. Because if you've ever built the Lindbergh T-Rex, it's about this tall. It requires lots of Squadron putty, and she was never quite happy with the paint job on it. And she was painting, she had an airbrush that she was using, and she was painting and painting until she got happy with it. And the tonal qualities in that paint, because she had so many different colors, so many layers of paint on it, it was just amazing.
Well, that's great.
And then putting on a nice base like you would see, the Tiger tank was on, was even better. So,
well, it teaches them, just like any model builder today, that it's okay to walk away from a project and pick it back up. Because I know when I've built a model and I get to a bad part and I've screwed something up and I'm ready to throw it across the room, that's the time to get up, take an hour or a week or a month off, and then come back and finish it up. So great.
And that's, I think a lot of modelers do that. You have your shelf of doom over here that you've started, but you've lost the inspiration. But I think the important thing about doing this with children is the parental time. That's what they crave. That's what they want. And if you can provide that to them, and basically you're creating works of art here.
Absolutely.
These are pre-painted here, but I consider these a stepping stone to going to more complex models where they can actually paint them, decal them, whatever it's required to do on it. And I think that's where they're really going to gain on it. And my oldest daughter, does she build models right now? No, but she's got a 4-year-old grandson now. He's already built 5 or 6 models.
The grandson would be yours. It's her son.
That's my grandson. I'm sorry. My grandson.
Wow, you started young.
Yeah. But my oldest daughter is still very artistic. My youngest daughter is very artistic. And I think a lot of that came from doing this type of stuff.
Oh, sure. Testing limits in a very creative and wonderful way. Great.
So I'm very excited to do this. Again, my daughters don't come to it anymore, even though I invite them. But so I wonder why I still do it. But when you sit down with the child and the parent is just thrilled to death about their kid doing something and building something, and you can see it at the air show where they're taking the airplane and they're flying it around the air show.
Oh yeah.
So that's what makes me want to keep doing it.
I did the make and takes at Eagle Quest.
Yes.
The past couple of years, and there was one family. They did the babysitting thing because I wasn't smart enough to require the parents to stay, so they dropped off 4 young lads from ages 4 to 10. So I will admit, by the end of it, I was almost bald because I wanted to pull all my hair out. They had glue everywhere. There was just, the kids kind of looked like what was in the box, but the most rewarding thing came later when I saw them out in the lobby of the hotel, and they had gone across the street. There's a huge mall near this place with I must have had a Hobby Town or something like in there, and they had a whole bag of kits.
Cool.
Because they wanted to continue what they had started that day. So it made all of it worth it after I picked all the glue off my fingers and tried to find the rest of my hair. So thank you
used
for
the
that.
glue to put your hair back in.
That's right. I guess I should have thanked them for that.
Gary says, "Hey y'all."
Hey Gary.
Also, can we show the kits that are on the side because those
Oh,
aren't in the
sure.
frame?
So
Sure.
we got a P-51 Mustang here, a P-47D, P-51 Mustang here, P-47D Thunderbolt here.
Here's a Spitfire. What's unique about these kits is they're pre-painted. So the idea behind this kit is to give the novice modeler a chance to put it together, which is hard enough,
Yeah.
and not have to worry about all the complexities involved in the finishing process, which, Jeff is such an expert at, but someone like me just getting the thing put together, I feel like I deserve a medal. So these have been very successful for us. They're great for the beginning modeler. You can weather them, you can change the finish on it if you want to,
Yeah.
but if not, once it's put together, it looks like it was done by a pro.
Right, and I'll emphasize, even though these are sort of snap type kits, they still need adult help because most kids are not going to be able to do this on their own.
Well, the parts are tiny.
The
there's
parts
a
are
little-
tiny. These are actually very good scale models, compared to some of the models that I remember back in my day, where scale was kind of whatever.
A suggestion.
A suggestion. But that's where I think you got to be. That's why I want parents to sit with their children on it, because if they get frustrated with this, it's going to turn them off. They're never going to do it again.
Right.
I still remember when my youngest daughter Alyssa, we were concerned about having toxic glues around. So we had the red tube glue everybody's familiar with, and my wife found that you can get non-toxic glue in a blue tube, and so we brought that home, and she was trying to have Alyssa make it the model with the blue tube, and I came home and Alyssa threw the blue tube of glue at me and says, "This doesn't work anything. Give me some real glue."
See, at a young age, they understand quality.
She understood quality real. My Alyssa actually built a AMT X-wing fighter, and she wrote a letter to AMT about how poor it fit. And it was a nice
her.
page, typed
Good for
out.
her.
I was just okay.
Well, there's all kinds of things that you learn when you build models. You learn patience, you learn creativity, you learn problem solving. I know we've been running a real big campaign with regards to the STEM value
Right.
of model building. It really fulfills all the things that support science, technology, engineering, mathematics, all as part of model building. So it's really
Right.
great. So anyway, we really appreciate the work that you do. It's really important to us to see that the community of modelers embraces this and shares it with other people. And as we roll into the holidays and everybody's trapped inside, Thanksgiving Day, you've eaten the huge turkey, you're laying around, everybody's kind of bored. What a great opportunity to take your grandson or granddaughter or niece or nephew down to where your workbench is, show them all the cool stuff you've got, maybe let them try to work on not your next show project, but another project to get them engaged.
Yeah.
It's all what's important.
Yeah.
So Frank, is there anything else from your treasure trove of life experience in modeling that you might want to share with our audience today?
Well, first I want to say that it's just not about me. I have a lot of people that help me do this, both in the North Central Texas Club and the Fort Worth Scale Modelers Club. And I've worked well with other regional coordinators down in Austin and San Antonio and Oklahoma, and I've done this at Nationals as well. So there's been a lot of people doing this. I think I've been doing it for 25 years, so I've learned a lot of things on how to make it work well, but I'm still learning things every time we do it. So I'm just, like I said, we did so over 760 kids this last year, thanks to Squadron. And it was just amazing because you want to keep doing it because you just see how the children react to it and how the parents react to it. You know, that's both just great, and that's why I'll probably keep on doing it. Is, you know, you want to see that positivity coming out.
And we will continue to support it.
Okay.
So we have a few administrative things to do before the end of our show today. First of all, a couple of weeks ago we had a drawing for a You Must Be a Model or t-shirt, and our winner has not yet surfaced. So we're asking if Leon, you're out there, Leon Krejci, Krejci, if you can reach out to us at customer care at mmd-squadron.com. We'll send you your t-shirt. But just in case, we're going to draw another one because we really want somebody to have this t-shirt. So
And it's
Frank,
a great t-shirt, isn't it?
yes, you have one, I think. As our special guest today, drum roll please. Yes, this is a cauldron from Halloween, this long past. And the winner is?
Vlad Meckler.
Vlad Meckler. So if you're out there, Vlad, please reach out to us. You can call in or you can email us again at customercare@mmd-squadron.com. And then we have a drawing for this week. All of those who you answered our trivia question as to when Squadron was founded is in this hat. So again, Frank, if you would do us the pleasure of calling this week's winner.
William Bullock.
William Bullock, you're going to be the lucky winner of this brand new
Ooh.
ICM kit. This is a Henkel 111 North Africa. It's a new kit out by our friends at
It's
ICM.
an excellent kit.
So if you can, again, reach out to us via Facebook, our email, any way that you can find us, that would be wonderful. If there's anyone else in the local area that would be interested in sharing their story with us on Facebook Live, please write to Jeff at helpdesk@mmd-squadron.com. He'd love to hear from you, and when we have availability in the schedule, we would certainly like to continue this tradition that we've now started with Frank. For next week, we're going to do another drawing. When Jeff comes back, he's going to be talking about tips and tricks that he's learned along the way with modeling, some of the real simple little things you can do to make your model come to life. To enter the contest for next week, which you will win a wonderful mini art M3A5 Lee tank. So to enter to win that tank, we'd like you to respond via Facebook or YouTube with a tip or a trick that you would like to hear from Jeff on. So he'll try and address those in the Facebook Live session next week. And if he can't address it there, he will address it via our blog or via our website. And then finally, the one other thing I wanted to mention is we do still have our brand new Squadron shop that's open through the fourth quarter on Saturdays down here in Carrollton, Texas. So if you're around, love to see you. The shop's open from 9 to 3. Benefit of the shop is that you get to basically have the pick of anything in the warehouse, because anything you order that day will be delivered to you while you wait. So
And they got some super deals in there.
And we have some super deals. We have some vault product which are some vintage kits that Jeff has uncovered, and then we have, of course, the scratch and dent, which is always a fan favorite. Very good.
William is watching. He's very excited.
Hi,
Okay.
William.
How
I
you
hope you're
doing,
having a
William?
great Friday.
Do we have time for a quick question?
Sure.
Bob wants to know, do you have any quick tips on what's the best way to get a club started?
The best way to get a club started. I can tell you that there's 4 IPMS clubs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex here. And there's probably another 2 or 3 or 4 clubs where they're not IPMS at all. They just meet. So we meet, IPMS NCT has been around since 1960. They were the first IPMS club in the U.S. The Fort Worth Club has been around for a long time as well. I don't know when they started. There's a club that meets in the mid-cities at a hobby town. So you can meet at a church, you can meet at a community center, you can meet at a hobby store. A lot of these hobby stores have places to meet. You meet at people's homes. There's community rooms up at some of the malls that you can meet in those. It's just a matter of getting your friends together and do it.
Another suggestion, too, is for those of you who aren't in the Dallas Metroplex and are perhaps in a more isolated area, you can utilize your local hobby store as a place to get potential candidates to be in the club.
Right.
The hobby stores, all of the ones that we support, have been big advocates of clubs forming, and they'll help you connect with other modelers and do an outreach to get a group together to either casually build models or build for competitions or for whatever your desire is. So not only are there local clubs already established, but if you happen to be in an area where there isn't one, you can start your own through the help of one of the local hobby stores. And then you can reach out to the IPMS.
IPMS USA, if you do a IPMS USA club, they want 5 people that are IPMS USA members to have an official club. And if you get 5 people together to do that, that's fine. But if you just want to have a group meeting on every other or the second Saturday of every month someplace, people do that as well. You got to remember that people like me and the other people you see at the contest, we're the social butterflies. There's tons of people that model that never come. Because I can remember at the Fort Worth show recently, we had a guy come in with a Wing on Wings kit. And he came in and he was there for 15 minutes. He just wanted to show us what he'd done on this Go to G1. And we're just amazed. I said, please put it on the table. And he goes, no, I'm too embarrassed. And he left. And, so there's a lot of people out there that are looking for help on how to build models better. It's just a matter of reaching out to them. And like Gwen said, the best place is check out your local hobby store. If you don't have a local hobby store, talk to your church groups, talk to, if you got malls, there's tons of places to meet people with.
You would be very surprised how many people have modeling memories, enjoy the hobby, and just haven't jumped back into it because they don't have a partnership or camaraderie to get caught up to speed. So don't be afraid to reach out, because there's a whole lot of people out there that love this hobby and would love the opportunity to spend time with others doing it.
Did that answer your question?
Might take a little while to get some
By
feedback
the time
because there's
you
usually.
respond. So we hope it doesn't, and if it didn't, again, you can always email us at customercare@mmd-squadron.com. Tom, who you all met last week, is ready and able and willing to help you as well with these kinds of questions, as well as the regular stuff that comes through.
Okay.
Great.
Very good.
Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm. I think that winter is coming, and get building.
Yep. Thank you.